Hi, welcome to the Andrew Buckle book review of Conan Chronicles, The Song of Belit, or Belit, Belize, I don't know, Belit, I'm going to call her Belit all the way through. As I don't know Shem, maybe she's not said that at all, that might be not his name at all. However, all the people there, of course this is from Marvel Comics, part of their Epic Collection, you can see there. Now this is volume 6 of the Epic Collection, they're going through in order, it's not like some of the other epics where they're going bouncing backwards and forwards. Don't know why they seem to be going in order with this one. However, it's got 432 pages, obviously colour all the way through. Hardly any extras. I mean, really extras, very limited. A couple of pages, that's it. However, there's the back cover. This book came out in 2020/2021. I only just got it, so I think it's always seems to be a couple of weeks later. It seems to turn up in the UK. But anyway, there's the spine there. And then obviously it advertises the... Now I did notice there is a novel that's just come out. I saw Song of Belit that's about 500 odd pages, which sounds pretty good. And also I noticed that the Dark Horse version on our Amazon website is still available. So if you want to go and look for a copy there, it's worth checking that out. So, but however, I don't know if it covers the same story, because it's one of those typical ones on Amazon where it says one page, which I'm sceptical it is actually one page, but they never seem to It's weird where they got that information, because obviously this is 432 pages. Maybe it's compressed on obviously one big page. It'd be very tiny, of course, it was this size. So volume 6, 2012 to 2014, covers these are all Dark Horse ones, of course, the Conan the Barbarian 7 to 25. They kept on changing the name for some reason. Conan the Cimmerian, Conan the Barbarian, Conan the Avenger, Conan the Savage, Conan the etc. They obviously went through the different things. But this one, this story is all of Belit, or Belit. So if you're not interested in her character at all, now I don't know how many stories in R.E. Howard she appeared in. I think probably one. There's one story. And big spoiler, well, if you've read the story, you know what happens. So obviously that's not following the general gist. However, instead of doing it in a small story, which probably be about 20, 50 pages at most, they've gone for a massive covering, a lot of things. So there's a lot of information that's been added to the story that obviously R.E. Howard never included in his original stories. Unless he did, I don't know. Maybe he was intending to do more with her. Who knows? So you've got the pictures there, you've got obviously the same as the cover, and then you've got the credits. I would like to show the credits, and obviously all the stories there, so you can see the cover August 2012 all the way through to February 2014. So obviously 6 years ago, I'm assuming there's a couple more volumes at least to come out. I hope so. However, lots of criticisms I've noticed online. I love looking at other reviews, of course. And I've seen lots of people haven't liked the artwork. They think the artwork's pretty bad, or the story not so great. Then other people really love it. So it's sort of obviously a hit and miss sort of one. However, for me, I thought it was a 10 out of 5. I think it was the best one I have read so far. And I say that every time I get one of these Conan Chronicles. They seem to get better and better. As far as I'm concerned, other people probably think the opposite. Maybe they think they're just getting worse. I don't know. But for me, I loved every bit. Now, same writer all the way through as far as I'm aware. However, the artist changed quite a bit. So you can see all the different, you've got Brian Wood there, as I showed there, but you can see a long list of pencilers as well as inkers, letterers, etc. Now, you've got one colorist all the way through, brilliant Dave Stewart. And I think the colouring is superb. All the way through. The colouring is marvellous. Maybe not as great as when he did it, obviously, in other works, but still, Darwin Cook comes to mind. But however, I think this is just superb, superb, superb. Lots of muted blues. You feel the cold, you really do in this. You've got the heat of Shem. You've got the story goes backwards and forwards. It's sort of like we learn a lot about Conan's young, sort of early years and his family, the various things about, and also a lot about, obviously, about Belit as well, which again, I'm not certain that was ever included in the R.E. Howard stories. Perhaps it was. However, and also you find out quite nicely how he goes off into the future as well. Though I assume this is just his own dream, etc., because there's a yellow lotus involved. Spoil it slightly. You can't really mention the book without some spoilers. Of 432 pages on one story, it's virtually impossible to do anything other than that. So the artwork is really stark and I think just brilliant first straight away there. So you've got some beautiful. This is when they go back to Samira. She loves it at first. Belit loves it. However, she realises as soon as she gets back to his village that it's not so great. So where she's the queen of everything, here she's not as good. And also she just probably gets to the point where she hates the cold, as I do. I would be instantly going off to Shem. I would not be going to Samira, which is weird since probably Samira is where I'm actually living, sort of. Whenever you see a map, it always shows it, it always overlays it, near enough like Kent, where I come from. Never as cold as this, but it just always, you look at it, it has been pretty bad snow, but nothing like the north. However, luckily, we get back to the ship. So a lot of great sort of snow scenes, but we're away from the snow and we're on the ship again. And however, there is an issue. And I love the where he looks out across the sea. You've got a lovely sea. He can see a ship, which is probably the worst decision he makes. That's at this point. Maybe he should have thought, maybe we should avoid. But however, there's a lot of passion in this all the way through. There's some great scenes of passion. So you've got Conan there. And however, things obviously go for the worst at that point. After that point, goes really downhill. And then we, of course, get to the good old scene. I love this pub, End Pub. What do you call pubs? Taverns, whatever you want. Obviously, this is Shem, so who knows? Or Kush. Oh, this is Kush. My apologies. One of the two. And you've got him sitting there, morose in a tavern or pub. However, there's some great fight scenes. There's not so much in terms of the fighting in here. I mean, there's a bit, obviously, but compared with some of the early ones, there's a lot of these Conan Chronicles. I've got lots of battle scenes, a lot of gruesome, various scenes, but this doesn't really have as much. You've got, I love this. You've got some, again, the colours are just glorious. This is the thing that, and also the artwork is absolutely fine. But you've got this, Conan does, there was a bit in the story where it suddenly jumped, there's occasionally where it jumps backwards and forwards a bit, and occasionally you think, oh, where are we now? Like it's 7 weeks ago. They're sort of, I'm not so keen on when they keep doing that. It's bad enough when you watch on a TV programme and suddenly the story changes and you're suddenly thinking, hang on, are we a couple of weeks ago, or where's the story gone? But there's some fighting, but not much. However, there is a great scene here which I absolutely comic is just superb. The Yellow Lotus goes and has that. So there's a dream sequence, runs for quite a bit. However, that of course is very confusing because it goes backwards and forwards. You're in a scene suddenly, and then you're suddenly, a bit like a dream, you're suddenly in another scene, and then you're in another scene, and then another scene. And there's not really connecting between the two, but it really just sort of shows a lot about Conan, shows a lot about her worries, her fears. And I just look at that. Again, that sort of sickly yellow, just absolutely superb. Obviously, the zombie-like character beside him. Everyone says, obviously, they're dead. However, again, you've got some bit, and of course, snow and whatever, and the ice comes back, because Belit obviously did not enjoy her experiences there. And there's a lot we learn in, so I think it's just beautiful. I can't show that page. Maybe. Yeah, look at that again, absolutely beautiful. I love scenes like that. There's nothing better than the good old beach scene with that beautiful sky. You could do a whole book with that and I would be happy. Again, the artwork is superb all the way through this. There's some gruesome. Actually, this was a great one. I felt a bit like a H.P. Lovecraft story. In many ways, it was sort of like Arkham or something. When it was the Black Stones. You got this sort of religious. They've got this sort of, and they're all completely, utterly, there's a lot of violence all the way through it. And again, the artwork really suits it as well. So really great artwork. However, I love the stones bit. yeah, a different set of stones this case, but there's some really quite interesting. The storyline is brilliant. Artwork is superb all the way through that story. However, let's get to the next story as it goes through. Yes, we're on to the story, of course, that is the R.E. Howard story, the only part of this that probably is. And you see, that's a lovely bit of artwork there, beautiful. Again, the colouring remakes as well. I mean, I wonder how this would work if it was a black and white. I would love to see the black and white version that's coming out. That's always the trouble in these things, I think. Black and white, maybe you might look at it in a different way. But I think it's just beautiful. The city's great. I always love Conan. You've got good old, not totally deserted, but he looks deserted. As, you know, obviously an abandoned city. But is it abandoned? Of course not. You know that there's various dubious, mystical, and various things around. And it is truly a sad storyline. Really, really sad. And stems for quite a few issues. So it's really sort of, you feel really, you're going for it for poor old. Anyway, that's again, slight spoiler. I'm not saying anything what happens, but I'm certain you've read the story of Belit, so it's not anything in this is going to surprise. They haven't changed it. So it's not something that she's seen sort of, you know, shopping in your local shops or anything, that sort of thing. Nope, nothing is changing. The story, but is done really, really well, really powerfully. I loved it, absolutely loved it. Does it have the finesse, the beautiful art that some of the, obviously John Buscema, that sort of period? No. However, I think the artwork is superb, thoroughly enjoyable, brilliant, and the story moves at pace. I enjoyed reading all the way through this. I read this near enough a couple of sessions, just loved it. It's, to me, the best Conan Chronicle. Yeah, absolutely superb. However, as always, of course, other people might look at it and say, I wasn't keen. And maybe just one theme is probably too much. However, I thought it was great. I loved it. Totally, brilliantly recommended. So, and finish off. I've not shown anything there, so it's the last page, but it's actually the advertising for the next one, which is Shadows Over Kush. So, obviously could be pretty good. I assume that'll be out fairly soon. Does it say? No, it doesn't say. The Conan Collected Editions. Oh, well, whenever. I'm looking forward to it when it comes out. So, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant story.